think I can see germs in the background. I'm like, what is happening? But yeah, my parents have a huge 4K TV, and every time I'm at their house, I'm like, I don't, I don't think if these people should be this close to me, you know?
Well, on TVs, I'll be honest with you, I disagree with that. I love it when the TV can show every imperfection of the person's face.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah, it's a bit.
but
It's
it's not my face.
yeah, true.
That's if it's not my face, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, sweet. There we go. Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, man, thanks for being on the podcast. I think it's going to be an awesome conversation. Obviously,
Yeah,
you and I
absolutely.
have had our fair share of good conversations. I would say
Yes, we
over
did.
over the time we've known each other, and yeah, good things happen when the right people are talking about the right things.
Yes, and I'm very glad we're doing this. But I have to say, Milan, that when you invited me to do this, I was very nervous.
Okay.
I did not know if I was gonna do it or not.
Yeah,
But um, this is what we do. This is what we do.
it's the job,
And
right?
yes, what we do is we overcome and we do the things that scare us the most.
Yeah.
We do the things that we're most afraid of. We lean into fear. So I stood by it. This is what we've been learning. And I thought that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lean into fear.
Like, yeah,
So here we
it's
are.
like we talk about it, right? Like the mountain of evidence.
Yes.
Hey, what's the evidence say, and how much evidence can I give myself?
Hmm.
And it's like once the details start to matter, then you can control a lot more. Like turns out I can do a lot more on purpose. Um, now that like we've gone through the coaching and stuff, and you've applied it to your life, what would you say is one of your biggest benefits?
That is one huge one right there is leaning into fear. Whenever I think something is making me nervous or I'm hesitant about doing, I realize that this is exactly the thing that I need to be doing. And is, this is how I go from, okay, maybe no to complete yes. Just gonna dive right in. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be scary, but guess what? This is how you learn. This is how you gain experience, and this is how you have stories to tell.
Right. And this is how you get to the place that we really want to be.
100%.
It's like, and the thing that when I realized that when I'm asking to be great in any area, I'm asking to go through whatever it takes for me to get there.
Mhm.
I just don't realize that. Everybody wants the big payout, but it's like, okay, are you going to come to work at 5 a.m.? They're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm like, okay, are you going to do it every day? Nah, probably not. Hmm. And you said you want how much money?
Okay.
Like you want what kind of life? What do you mean? You want all the money, power, and respect, but like when it comes down to it, it's the few that are willing to do it. But I think, those are the guys like we talk about, those are the guys we respect. Those are the guys that we want our sons to be like, hell yeah, my dad is awesome. Not like, oh, my dad's, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it.
Right.
I'd rather be the guy that I admire.
And those are the guys that have gone through hardship. It's crazy, but it's literally hardship. That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key that makes people admirable and interesting. It's because they went through hardship and either succeeded or failed, and they're both phenomenal. But the one that failed has a lot more to tell than the one that succeeded. The one
Yeah.
that succeeded might have had to go through so many hardships to get to this one success. Maybe they got lucky. But guess what? They both have good stories.
Right. And I think that speaks to simply just paying attention more.
Yeah.
Like I'm not afraid to go to those places within myself, and neither are you, where it's like, man, it's kind of like, I don't know about this place. I got some work to do. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's like, identifying that place that does scare me and choosing to not allow it to keep doing that. They're like, wait a second, why is this scaring me? Let me just investigate. Okay. Well, oh, if it's this person, oh, okay. Well, I heard forgiveness is useful. Maybe I'll try that. But it's like anything else. It's like, okay, like I know I can lift 5 pounds. Okay, whatever. Okay, I know I can lift 10 pounds. Okay, whatever, But if I want the body that I really want, it's going to have to be something that I think, I don't know if I can lift this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start with that. And I think you go from there,
I think it's so crazy now that we're talking about this, Milan, that I had a thought. It's kind of like biologically, God had designed this in us, and this, I mean, there's an indicator in us that starts to alarm and alert us when there's something that we actually need to be doing.
Yeah.
That's when your nerves start to, overwhelm, your heart starts to beat, fear start, those thoughts start to overwhelm you in every way, shape, and form. That's your indicator that you must do this thing. That you gotta do it.
Yeah. Like it's pulling you towards it, It's saying like, hey, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. Like it's asking for the attention. And I think, whatever we pay attention to and the story we're telling ourselves about it matters so much. Because like I realized that like part of my life that I thought just surface level thinking about it is like, oh yeah, that sucked. But I'm like, well, why did it suck? They're like, well, I think it sucked because of the way I was talking about it. They're like, wait a second. Well, if I tell the same story of me living in Colorado and I'm talking about like the relationships I built and that I was teaching for the first time at a college and, I learned so much about myself and I got a really cool power wheelchair when I was there. That's like real quiet, and like I learned about Vietnamese food and, a bunch of cool stuff. I'm like, yeah, it was pretty awesome. I went skydiving, I was in the Rockies, like, my girlfriend was fine for a while, and then like my dad came out there and helped me move back. And then I started my master's program. It sounds awesome. Or I could focus on like the couple of months of the relationship that were just like terrible and like how that made me feel, like not that that's not valid or not true, but it's like, okay, well, what am I going to put my attention on though?
Right.
When I talk about my life, is it a life story that inspires me or makes me feel shitty?
I agree with that, Milan. And I was listening to, I don't know if it was Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about, he was with a guest that was, she had good background. Her background was therapy, and she was talking about the scope of what she was there for is to tell Rogan's audience that therapies could be harmful for you. And that ties to exactly what you're saying there. It's the story that you tell yourself. It's what you're telling yourself that reflects on how you take on the world or your mood or your attitude towards things. And we see how a lot of the times with people that are going through therapy, they keep digging themselves into the same hole. And that's just purely by going and talking about their problems. This is all they know.
Yeah.
All they do is talk about the problems constantly, day in, day out. They feel good. I mean, it's short term. It feels good. You let it out. But in the long term, it is a self-deprecating prophecy. This is all you know. This is becoming your norm. Negativity. I'm talking about the negative, feeling like you're maybe feel like you're barfing that information out, for the lack of a better term, but it's consuming you without you realizing it. That's exactly what you're saying right there, Milan. It's the story you tell yourself, the things that you consume, that your brain consumes on the daily, the things that your brain, even, conversations you have in your head, all of that reflects on how you are as a person, your mood, the way your energy, and
That's really
Yeah.
good.
And it impacts your expectation level of your life. Like where are your expectations if that's normal? Where are your expectations if you're just literally reliving, we're taking your body again through that same experience again and again and again to like constantly re-experience that trauma or that heartache or that whatever, like constantly, really? Like you can't tell that this sucks. Like I know it feels like, and I think that's one of the other markers, like you were saying, that your body talks to you either through pleasure or pain. And if your body's constantly experiencing pain and discomfort and like heaviness, you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Dragging you down.
You got to look at like, wait a second, what am I causing here? What am I doing? Because like, that's one of the things that I noticed when I started living my day one is like, I don't feel as heavy as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel as weighed down mentally. I feel like I'm making decisions real fast. I feel like I'm cutting through the matrix,
Right.
And after that too, I started to notice how many other people were slowed down by like heavy stuff, heavy ideas,
And I truly believe that day one helped me. I mean, it sounds very basic and intuitive, but it's true. These are the things that maybe it takes someone to tell you about them and to hold you accountable to doing for you to really realize that it's not good for you. Until someone tells you, hey, this is what you need to do. I want you to start not talking to yourself negatively. Very simple. Very simple. Until someone really tells you need to do that, maybe it's just gonna, you're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, and I think it sounds too simple,
It sounds too simple.
It sounds too simple, and like really simple stuff we don't value. Like it's simple to learn it's simple to tie your shoes every day if you know how to tie your shoes already. You don't even think about it. You're thinking about what else you're doing during the day while you're tying your shoes. Like it doesn't matter because it's so simple and we undervalue those things. But like that's the basis of what separates man from other life on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Like chosen speech, language. If like we're the only primate, if you want to call it that uses language, and the fact that we use language separates us so much from like other primates,
Mm-hmm.
I bet it matters, and even when you look at like the monotheistic like power players in religion, speech is so important. Like we literally pray words out loud. We say things like alhamdulillah, like because of what it means, not just like like we're not just like making sounds just to get the idea of something. We're being specific, and I think if you're going to be specific with anything, be specific with your words about yourself.
Yes.
Because we all know how, like, we all have a story of like, oh, this person cussed out their boss and got fired. Right. It's what she said, not just how she said it, or, I was having a really bad day and somebody said, hey man, I really like your haircut, dude. You look awesome. And you're like, all right.
Big turnaround for the day, 100%. Which
Right.
one word is all it takes?
That small, and you think your words don't matter? Like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, dude, tell yourself a better story. I guarantee it'll be the first domino, if not the last. Like that causes your breakthrough.
I agree, and I think it is the tie your shoes metaphor. This is it. We don't know, I mean, we don't know that we're doing those things. We don't know the effects of them because we're just used to them.
Yeah.
It's not in our sight until it is brought to our sight that we can pay attention to them. And I think this is what Day One Mindset had done to me. And I feel like now whenever I veer off, and I've gone through the training, and now I've been off it for 2 months.
Yeah.
I feel like I veer off a lot of the times. I veer off in the sense of sometimes emotions overwhelm me, or I start to negatively speak to myself. This is what I mean when I veer off. But I always remember that I have this tool in the back of my head. It's in my pocket.
Right.
Pull it out, tell myself positive, stay positive. It's what you say to yourself is more important. Your peace is very important to you. So talk positively to yourself. I mean, it doesn't always work as effectively depending on the situation, but you always have that tool. I always
Yeah.
have the tool in there. I use it, continue to use it until ground myself into the present and continue on in my day. And I found it's been very, very helpful in my life.
What one of the things that I was thinking about earlier today about our conversation, and like, I would ask myself from time to time, what am I really doing here? What am I really doing? What are we really gonna talk about? Like what has he really done? And try to get as simple as possible with stuff. And it's just like you said, knowing that your words are planting seeds that will grow life in your life. It'll grow stuff eventually. You can the way that you speak to your spouse depends on what kind of marriage you have.
Yes.
And like when it's stuff like that, like, and then when you do veer off, because I do too. Like, I'm never gonna say I'm perfect. I'm never gonna say that like I have it all figured out. I don't make mistakes, because I definitely do. But I know right now, whatever the now is, I can just choose my words differently, and I know that'll steer the ship back. And when I didn't have any feeling or movement in my body, and I'm like, well, what do I do? What do I have? And it's my thoughts and my words. And it's like, if those weren't the building blocks, then I would still be laying in that bed. Like, it's that simple and like that clear to me, that if my words didn't matter and my thoughts about myself didn't matter, that I would still be laying in that bed. And it's been 23 years, dude. Are you freaking kidding me? That's not a life. But because they mattered, like, my entire like opened up and started just creating things and being open to things. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty valuable. This is pretty damn useful, And for me, like, how doable and repeatable is this thing is like was my big concern.
Right.
Because like when your body goes from atrophy to like, all right, well, I'm starting to move, everything that you can do with every movement really matters, So it's like, all right, how is this? Like, I needed things that were repeatable and doable. And like monitoring my self-talk, like, as hard as it is, it's doable. Like spending time imagining things in my mind that matter to me. It's hard, but it's doable.
Right.
It's like, narrowing things down and create a system, like, dude, like I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that it works.
Yes, I think that system is. I think it is a very effective system, Milan. Before I met you, I don't know if you remember how it all happened. All coincidentally, when you had reached out to me on LinkedIn the very first time about Day One Mindset, I was at the time looking for a life coach, and I was in the process of interviewing people. And I still, till today, I don't know how you found me. I mean, yes, we do live in the same area, but I don't get anyone from my area adding me anyway.
Right.
So
and I'm not in your field of study, your field of work.
We have nothing in common as far as career.
Yeah.
Nothing is in common. We're in two completely different fields. So when you had reached out, I was in the process of hiring a life coach, but prior to that, I was constantly trying to find resources, free resources, meaning YouTube and whatnot, to help me self-develop and overcome those. I would say, I don't know how to put this one. Those obstacles that are in my way. And none of the things, unfortunately, that I learned have been effective. Those systems that I've read about online, not all of them, but a lot of what I've seen, the resources I found for free online were not very repeatable. Yes, they would help me on the moment, give me that instantaneous spurt of energy. Like, okay, I'm pumped. I know how to do this. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But it's not repeatable because it's not based on anything fundamental. There's no real pillar to it. There's not anything very simple to lean on to and be able to pull out of your pocket and use it on the spot. It was always a constant struggle. And I don't know where I was going with this, but this is really the story of how I ran into you and found that the day one mindset, the training has been so far been working for me through a reliable, repeatable system.
Yeah. And it's, dude, like I talk about it too, that gives me so much joy to see you win, because I know what it's like to waste your time and money, or to feel like things aren't working, or to think that, dude, like I wish, it was differently, or that's great that I can change my life, but like, actually, how do I do it? Like, how do I do it really? Like, what am I really doing? Like, these suggestions are great, and I think too that goes along with, it's nice to think that like, hey, this seems like it works, versus I know this works. I'm operating from a lot more confident place because I know it works. I have a mountain of evidence that says it works in a myriad of different situations. But what's one of the things that you've noticed within yourself that like a get to that you've noticed since framework?
What do you mean to get to?
A get to, like, because I know how to do this, I get to, be more confident at work, or because I have this skill, I get to sleep better. Like what's a get to, a benefit from knowing what you know now?
Well, you already talked about leaning into fear, which I think is very important to me. It's being able to lean into those things that make me nervous to get better results. Not only better outcomes, but better, better going through the process, because I know this is good for me and I need to continually do it. Things that have been doing constantly have been, I try to, at least as much as I can, is my positive self-talk before I go to bed. My imagination and manifestation. I imagine things exactly how I want them to go. And I know that anytime during my day that I start thinking negatively about an outcome, that I can reframe it, turn it into a positive outcome, literally imagine it and feel it for it to turn out the exact same way. And it's crazy, Milan. It's crazy how it's so simple, but it's so simple, but it works. But you really gotta reframe it. Blocking it out could be, it's not, I don't think it's very effective, because you can block it out as much as you can, but reframing it into a positive outcome and imagining that the vanity and the accolade after. I remember, I can't forget when you say, I remember the handshake. The handshake
right.
after.
Whose hand are you going to shake when they congratulate you on doing a good job? And you're like, wait a second.
Yes, remember that. And that itself is enough for you to manifest what you want and get you through those nerves that the overwhelming nerve that you're going to get in the early moments of that interaction or that presentation or whatever it is, that sales pitch that you need to do. That is enough to get you to the door and then manifesting the results that you're going to get.
Yeah, it's fantastic, dude. Like you said, like that it's practical. Because like that's the other thing. I think guys like us, like we want it to be practical. I don't want to just have stuff just to have stuff. Like you didn't buy those headphones by accident. You're like, I bought these on purpose because of what they do. Like they're practical. Like I get to do stuff. They make my life more of what I want it to be.
Yes.
And for me, dude, like that's the thing that like I'm able to make my life more of what I want it to be. Like
I'm in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I'm in the driver's seat. Like I'm doing this stuff on purpose. Like I choose so much of my life. Like I choose everything. And like I even choose the things that I think about that thing. Like, I choose what money seems normal to me, and then I choose about how I'm worthy of that money and so much more. And then I let that just become a belief. Like we talked about at the summit of, Like, dude, you can just cause beliefs, and beliefs are the dominoes, that you're pushing here. Like, belief is how God gives you what you want, and it connects with you, like through belief. Like, you can't even have a relationship with God without belief. Like, like it's a building block, And yeah, it's for me, man, like I know what you're talking about when like you can feel it in your body. Like it's like my body already recognizes this currency, this flow of things. And it's cool for me because like my body keeps changing. And like I have to remind myself, like, oh yeah, I almost severed my spine. That's right. Oh yeah. That's weird and crazy. But like even like I got taller after I broke my neck. That's odd. But that's when you think about it, because like my grandpa and my great grandpa, who I'm named after, they were both 6'4", and I was only 6 foot, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. It was like I should be like them. Like, oh, he was really tall, and then next thing you know, I'm like, my pants don't fit. Why are all my pants short? And I'm like, oh, I'm 6'4". I'm like, oh yeah, grandpa is too. Like things that just like I just accept that I can create things based on how I feel about it, what I believe about it. And the reminder that like, yeah, like I'm causing things, but I'm not always physically involved in the creation, like things can be brought to me.
Right.
And things can be, created through me, without, I don't want to say without effort, but without like really like, grittily trying it to scale up that mountain. I'm like, nope, we're just going along. Like I'm putting forth effort, but like I'm not like trying to like push things. Yeah, I'm not stressed about the creation. And I think that's one of the great things to focus on. Like, it's really what we allow and what we accept that like are the real rudders of this ship.
That's. I really see with saying it's practical. It really is. I mean, well, what's really been sensible for me, what I really had noticed from the practicality of this is when I think about it every day, about this thing that I want that is very positive and really feel it, and have the emotions associated with it, I go throughout my day accepting it to come to me. So let's imagine two people doing one, thinking about that thing every day and feeling it, and another who wants the same thing, just not doing anything about it. They just are not proactive. There's no proactive approach towards it. The two are going to do the exact same thing throughout their day. They're going to receive the exact same opportunities. The only difference is the one that is thinking about it every day and proactively ready to receive it is going to receive it. They're going to notice it because it's always in their mind. It is constantly running in their brain. So they're more prone, if that's the right word, more prone to receiving that and noticing it than the other person that is not doing anything proactive about it. Whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, you want, a girlfriend or a wife, whether it's whatever it is that you want. If you're proactively thinking about it, if it's making your enticing your emotions constantly, then there's a higher likely chance that you will notice it and jump on that opportunity when it comes.
Right. To not only get it, like you said, but also to capitalize on it.
Yes.
Because you're right.
I could give you $1 million, but like if you're not ready for $1 million, like if you haven't thought about what you would do with $1 million, if you don't know how to like taxes about $1 million, you might not even, like it matters what you're prepared for. And like if you're prepared for it, you can get it and then really capitalize on it. Because like you and I could have both met the women that we married, but if we weren't willing to do things about it to capitalize on that chance meeting, we wouldn't be married to them.
Yes.
If we weren't ready to be like, oh, I know how to treat a woman. like I'm smart and I can communicate with people. Like if I didn't have these skills, like it wouldn't have happened. And if I hadn't already invested in myself, because like they're not going to marry guys that aren't doing stuff.
100%. That is
Like,
that's
oh,
a fact.
you also have no ambition and no job and no money. No thanks. Like they're just like, no, I'm not going to marry a guy that's not going anywhere.
You need something tangible.
Right, something tangible. And it's like I heard it on a podcast recently, a couple days ago, that men are born at the bottom of the mountain and women are born at the top. And it's like a man like adds value and creates his world as the effort that he puts into it. And a woman's value is like how integrous can you remain? How pure, how protected, how guided, how righteous can you maintain yourself? And for us, it's like, what can you add on to you, buddy? what skills, what value can you add to the world? And
100% agree with that.
Dude, like I think you're doing everybody a favor when you enhance yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you have guidelines to live by. Like a guy without guidelines, that's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That's dangerous or sad.
Yeah, and it's for yourself, and it's for the people around you, the people that depend on you, your relationship, your life is just better in every way, shape, or form. And it might the fact that a man it starts at the bottom of the mountain might be controversial to some people, but it's hard facts.
Yeah.
Unless you're born to some wealth or some pre-made person, then you have to work yourself up there. You're going to have to put the blood, sweat, and tears, period. There's no other way to it.
In these days, like it's so many people that are, this is starting to become the conversation that people are having. That it matters how I see myself. It matters my mindset with stuff. That even if when you are born into like financial ease, if you're not willing to maintain it, it'll switch hands real fast.
Yes.
Like somebody will come for it. Like people are it's not just I'm buying this t-shirt because I need a t-shirt. It's I'm buying this one for a specific reason. Mm-hmm. I'm supporting this for a specific reason because I got options out here, buddy.
I think you put it very well when you said that.
What's that?
I think you put it very well when you said, if you were born to money and you don't know how to leverage those resources to better yourself, then it's going to be a deprecating prophecy for you. You're going to lose all of it and you're not going to be able to maintain. And we see it nowadays with how, unfortunately, people were able to leverage some opportunities that are solely based on luck. Like crypto, for example. People made so much money from crypto, but they were able to leverage those resources to make themselves better, to invest on themselves, to invest on their education, their ability to handle the finances, to invest, and they lost all that money.
Yeah. Because there's taxes on that $1 million house.
Yes.
Surprise. Like it's yeah, and it matters. Like it matters so much. And I think I was talking to my own coach because I hired myself a coach because I think it's important for somebody to check in with you that can see things from a different perspective. Which is going super awesome. And that came about at a time where I was thinking too, like I'm noticing an area where it's not what I want it to be, or I'm noticing like me running into a wall, like what do I need to do? Where's the adjustment here? And really honing in on things. I think there's always going to be details to tweak as you go along.
I agree with that.
It's
perspective.
Yeah, and there's never a done moment.
I agree with that. There's always a different perspective because you operating from your body, you can only see things from one angle. No matter how much you try to zoom out, you're always limited to a few angles. Yes, we can improve on that and, increase our level of depth to see even more. But it's impossible to see the whole picture until you completely isolate, you get someone you trust that can tell you the angle that they can see and assist you, provide you that support that'll take you to the next level by having sight, either through already going through those experiences or walking you, or you be able to walk them through a similar experience that they've been through, that can guide you to the next level.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, and it sounds less and less weird the more I say it, that I'm really thankful I broke my neck, because like it was so far down the mountain, so to speak, that I had to pay attention to so much for so long, that to be able to tell somebody like, hey, just so you know, like this part matters, and they're just like, oh really, thanks. Like, and it helps bridge the gap, and I think it helps to operate your own system easier. Like if like on Windows shortcuts, if that like Control Alt C is going to copy this thing, Control V, okay, I'm gonna paste this thing. Like knowing the shortcuts makes your life easier. And I think there's always going to be some overlap like that with everybody's life experience. Like there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be surprises, there's going to be challenges. A lot of people talk about God, so you might want to think about that. And it's like, yeah, the insights come from people that have done it. Success leaves clues. And I think one of the things that we're all responsible to do as men is to leave clues behind about how to win. And I thought about it recently. I did an episode a couple episodes back. You can either be somebody's excuse on why they're losing, or somebody's example about how to win. And I'm just like, yeah, like I'd rather be the example. Like, my life might not be the exact same as somebody else's challenge, but like I am leaving trails here of like, hey, if you're paying attention to Milan, you'll probably learn something. And if you're paying attention to Aboud, you'll probably learn something. Like they're worth it, They're guys that they made us better while they were here. They became better while they were here. We're better because we know this person.
Milan, it's what we're doing is compounding. That's it. We're not coming up with anything new.
That's the eighth wonder of the world, right? Compound interest.
That is all that is. You're learning. You took all that time to learn all those things and share that knowledge with me and others, so I can take it, compound it in that career path that I'm taking, or the life that I'm living, either by the environment or the experiences that I've been through, compound it and have something solid for my children. Or if God has a different path for me and he wants me to do something bigger, then I can have those experiences compounded with what you've taught me to guide someone to their next level, and they can take it and compound on it. This is all we've been doing ever since the dawn of humanity. It's compounding our knowledge. This is how electricity was invented. This is how, maybe not electricity, because electricity is very fundamental, very profound. But other things that are, they use electricity.
Right, but it's better, like it went from, okay, this light bulb will last for 5 minutes, to this light bulb will light up a whole room, to this light bulb will, be able to be solar powered just in case I'm out,
Right?
Like there's always tweaks and improvements on stuff.
100%. This light bulb is literally what's lighting up my screen right now to be able to see you. And it's just a very microscopic, maybe not that level, but it's a very small light bulb that is working in conjunction with others for me to be able to see you right now while we're, I don't know, maybe 100, less than that. We're miles away from each other. Are you still in Kalamazoo, Milan?
Yeah, today, yeah.
We're not too far from each other. I guess I can't use that metaphor.
But I mean, like the things that people had to say yes to, and like the accomplishments and the gifts and the challenges that real people experience in order to create a reality where you and I could have a virtual conversation.
Right.
It's a lot of people and a lot of components, not just in the machinery, but in the decision making, in the what people believe. You think there weren't challenges? Yeah, right. You think there wasn't a whole lot of self-doubt? Yeah, right. You think there weren't a lot of no's? Yeah, right. Like, have you been paying attention to history? Like there's a lot of obstacles, but there's always people that, and I'm glad we're those people that are willing to go towards the challenge. And like, to be a nerd about it and to like dissect it and figure out what's going to work here and then make it work and be like, hey, by the way, I made this work. you know, and I think that's a cool thing that unites us and takes off, you know, some of those negative labels and gives us positive labels, like I overcomer, you know, facilitator, superhero coach, like engineer, you know, good husband. Like I think these are, you know, cool titles, and that serve us all, you know, and it gives us all a cooler story. And it's like I'm going for an awesome story, you know. Like I want my life to sound awesome when I talk about it, and other people talk about it too, and it's beneficial, you know. And it's like, yeah, that dude really knew God. Like he didn't know a lot about a lot of stuff, but he knew a lot about God, and he shared it, and it was really great. I'm glad I know him, you know. And it's like, yeah, I want to be that guy. Like I'm going for that guy, and it's in some regards, it's like, oh man, I got to do this every day. Got to pay attention every day. It's a lot of work, but you don't live years at a time. You live days. Like, we're just living days.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when you slow it down that much, then it's actually doable. You know, we talk about things being practical and doable and repeatable. What's more repeatable than a day?
Yes. Every day is today.
Right. I'm like, it's today again. So what am I going to do about it?
You're not going to live anything but today.
Right. Like everything that you do is going to happen today. It's like, so it's like taking care of today's over and over is the best thing to do.
Yes. Make that the highest priority. Today is your highest priority. One thing that really stuck with me that you preached to me a lot, it's in your pillars as well, is, and I found very effective, is just being a solution-oriented person.
Yeah.
Finding solutions to every problem that exists, especially the ones that are on your way, things that you want to solve. So I made that, like you recommended, I created a notes folder for my solutions.
Nice.
And I still, till today, do so. And I found that I'm able to solve so many problems that I used to before the beginning of the year, before I met you. Because I'm always thinking about solutions. I'm always ready to latch on and leverage if there is something that is a problem out there, which makes me a problem solver.
Right. And like you said, you capitalize on what you are focused on. You know, you capitalize on what you're focused on, and like you're gonna attract what you're focused on too. Because like now that's a part of your repetition. Like most of your life is repetition. You know, you're talking about yourself, talking about your world the same all the time. Like, you know, wherever you live there. Like you talk about that place, you know, what's around, like you're focused on that stuff. And it's like whatever you are focused on, you're going to get more of. And knowing that you can just, yeah, I can focus on the solution side, because if there's a problem, there is a solution. Like, yin and yang, people. Like if we learn nothing from the Chinese, it's that like yin and yang, like, come on, like things flow into each other. Things only make sense with their opposite, so to speak. You know, like night only is night because we recognize day. Or else we wouldn't call it anything. Maybe we'd just call it alive, maybe. But like, come on, people, details matter. And it's like, yeah, solutions, what would you rather focus on? You know, like you said earlier, like a lot of people spend a lot of time describing their problems in therapy and like describing their problems. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Like, I get it. You know, that person sucked. I get it. But like, dude, like, are you going to stay on chapter 4 your whole life? Like, come on now. And one of the things that my niece says, she's like, you know, she likes to say at your big age, like, you're still doing that at your big age? Like, like what? Like you still have a license at your big age? Like stuff that doesn't make sense to her. She's like, no, as you get older, you should be progressively getting better also somehow in some area. You know, you might not be the best athlete in the world, but you should be a better astronomer if that's your thing. You know, find a thing and like get real good at it. I think that's the fun of it all. And like you said before, you started to enjoy the way towards the solution or the way towards fear. You're like, well, I'm just going to enjoy more of what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, I'm going to act more on purpose. I'm going to tell myself a story that I'm writing here. You know, and I think for me, it made me such more of an active player, even when, and it didn't make the problems and the challenges seem so problematic and so challenging. You You know, and it's like, oh, I get that I can't walk. I've noticed. It's tricky. I get it. You know, but it's like, okay, well, what am I going to try to do today? Like, where am I going to get value? Okay, these are some limitations I'm playing under. How can I be creative to create a backdoor? You know, like, all right, well, there's a bunch of steps there. Can I build a ramp? Like what can I do here? And I think, you know, like you said, like being constantly creative, constantly solution focused, knowing that like your actual words actually matter and your conversation matters and stuff like that. And that, you know, like we hang out with superheroes. Like,
Yeah.
I can name like 5 of them right now, you know. Even like this background is because like we're in the process of creating a comic series based on my coaching. Like, you know, a superhero coach working in the city, cool things happen. Like, that sounds pretty comic booky. And it's like, yeah, like this reminder of like I get to create a world. You know, even with all the challenges that I find myself being challenged by, I still get to create a world on purpose. You know, and like I can attract things and just like stuff that I think is cool. And it's like, all right, I can experience that more. Or the stuff that I already have, I can tell myself a story so I can experience more goodness out of that. You know, like even like the money I have, we're like, thank God somebody created a fast charger. Like
Right.
that's super useful. You know, and I think, you know, like being solution based for me is also seeing the worthwhileness of the world that I've already created. You know, like my keyboard, like, oh yeah, it matters. Like it's cool. Like, oh, this water bottle. I'm thankful for the shaker part, you know, like your Bluetooth headphones. And it's like I noticed that this stuff matters. Like I'm not just taking it all for granted. And for me, like that keeps me able to not be bogged down so easily by the big stuff because I'm noticing so much good stuff already.
Yeah.
How has your gratitude level impacted your life since coaching?
I definitely lack in the area of gratitude. I'm not gonna lie with you, Milan. I feel like, and it's the last pillar in um um in the system that you created. I definitely do. It's something I'd really like to work on more often. There's a lot of room for me to grow in that because I know when I am grateful for the things that I have, that the outcomes of that feeling is reflects better on if I'm not. Sometimes I just forget. I just forget to be grateful for those small things.
Yeah. Yeah. My mentor said that the simple things are simple to do and simple not to do. You know, and like you gotta it's a constant thing. And I remember that that Arabic statue behind you, that writing. I remember I asked, what's the story behind that? And like when you started telling me the story, you're like, you know what, I do like that. I am glad I got that thing. And I think, you know, like taking the time to remind yourself of the story about how you got that thing. You know, there's some gratitude to be had there. And I think, you know, and every so often, like my back desk here in our back room, like just looking at the stuff of like there's a weight on the corner of my desk. I'm like, oh yeah, to remind me to like grab that thing and throw it around sometimes during the day. Not give myself that excuse of like, oh, I can't work out because you know I'm busy. Like, come on. Come on. Dude, like the excuses, but like or like my my espresso cup here, that like I only like the tiny coffees. I'm like, no, I want to and then get back to work, you know?
Yeah.
But I've learned to appreciate them. Like I like these like cool little cups. You know, I like the way they look. But it's like, like a reminder that like I'm choosing all this stuff, you know? Like it's not just here by happenstance. But like I chose this world, I'm creating this world. And for me, noticing those details is so great because like for a long time that's all I had. Like I can't put my own shirt on just yet, but I can pick out the color. You know, I can pick that detail. But like, you know, I stacked up the details of like what's really what I'm doing. You know, my thoughts, my words, my actions about stuff. And yeah, it's a cool thing to do, dude. And like I think that's cool because like that gave me and you another relationship that's valuable for us.
Definitely did.
You know, and like guys like us, we're not bringing a lot of people in. Like I love about 6 people, and I like it that way, you know. So
Be
like,
selective.
yeah, I'm selective, you know, the people, the relationships that I have, and I want them to be valuable. And it's like it's stuff like this, like gives me the opportunity to add more valuable relationships because, like, you know, you're learning from me, but I'm learning from you, and like what works and what doesn't, you know, and I'm able to experience your wins along with you because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
thanks
makes
for
both of us better.
that. So yeah, thanks for not sucking.
Bare minimum. Bare minimum I can do.
Yeah. Appreciate you for not you know, tearing down my life. You're actually building up. So sweet man, is there anything like top of mind that you want to make sure people know about you, what you're doing, you know, how to support you and stuff like that before we take off?
Sure, absolutely. I do. Since we started talking, Milan, I have, well, definitely with your help, I've started to invite the things that I want, and I started by Video Editing LLC.
Nice.
It is my website is chihuahuaproductions.com, and that is CHIWUAWA, then productions PRODUCTIONS.com. I do video editing. I can take your videos for you for events, weddings, whatever it is. I'll be more than happy to help. If you've got a YouTube channel and you want an editor, this is what I do. So
Wait,
it's a shameless plug, but it's something that I've
no,
always wanted to do.
I think it's fantastic. You know, I don't even think shameless plug is the description. I think it's, hey, here's how I'm helping people get more of what they want.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that's the question. Like, how do you help more people get more of what they want? Like, oh, well, I do it through videos, you know?
Yeah.
And like, how do you help them? I'm like, oh, I created this system, this coaching system. And other people are like, oh, yeah, I help people get what they want by, like, you know, selling them good wine. Like,
Yes.
hey, I appreciate
you
your
that value.
it's good wine or good falafel or whatever. You know, I'm adding to people's life one cup of hummus at a time, you know?
Yes. Yes, this is the way of the world, and I'd be more than happy to add value to the world with what I can. So, if you ever need any video editing, anything that's related to videography, feel free to hit me up.
Sweet.
I'm happy to add value to your production.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate you adding value to the podcast. And
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
I knew it would be a good combo, so I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And being
Thanks for the
transparent,
invite.
you know, I think once you learn how to, I don't want to say live right, but you know, like to operate better in your life, I think it's easier to share your story. You know,
It's operating from a place of authenticity.
yeah, for sure. And you know, God will meet us at our authentic level of expectation, and I think that's real key of like controlling, operating yourself better. Like I think you're able to communicate with God better to like produce more in your life, you know, because you're producing it on more of a massive scale because you're adding that extra, you know, the superior everything along with your efforts. Like co-creating your life with God, that's a big part of what we do as superheroes. And
Well put.
you know, we're doing it in a massive way, you know. Some ways we don't even understand just yet, but it was like, it sounds cool though.
We just got to go through it, though. That's the key, because one day, some way, somehow, the opportunity will present itself. And by doing this, we are ready for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We get what we prepare for. And
Yes.
it's a fun ride. All right, man. I'm going to edit all this out and I'll create some audio and video, and then it'll be live on Spotify. I'll send you the link when that's ready. And you might see some clips of this on YouTube as well. So
Sweet. All right.
awesome. All right, man.
Well, appreciate your time. Take it easy.
All right.